There you go. That's what it looks like. And we're live, by the way.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, in order for me to make that big, people got to be able to, We're sorting out some technical difficulties. This is our first time doing this, other than a game. So, yeah. This is episode 1 of RPG Power Hour. I wonder where we get that name from. Power Gamer Paula, maybe? Although she wants to shake that name. And
I'm trying. Well, it has such negative connotations. Like, it shouldn't be so bad. Like, it's such a terrible thing. Nobody likes that. I don't know. You even said it in the game the other day. You were like, she's a power gamer. And everybody was like, who? And it's like, I'm the only female in the room. I wonder who we're talking about.
That's
you
true.
know? But it was like, oh, I don't like it when you say
Nate
that.
knew.
Sometimes.
Nate's already played with you. And he even confirmed it. He even said, he's like, it's true. It's true. I think that was on air. It may have been before we went on air.
Maybe. It probably was.
Yeah.
But was it that part that he said it's true, or was it the fact that I argue with you sometimes?
It could have been that, or the fact that you don't like your characters to die. It may have been that one, too.
Okay, but I was just bitter because it was the first episode. Like, it was the first
Well, you didn't know your character was
game.
going to die yet, though.
I know, but it was like...
She spent 4 hours...
It was
the night before.
Hours.
3 hours the night before painting this miniature for that game. And it came out pretty good. You can't tell right here. But if you go over to the Instagram, I posted this picture on Saturday. Whoops. Uh-oh, it's broken. No, I'm just kidding. Well, it's dead. No. So Saturday night, I think I posted this, or it was Friday. But yeah, that's her miniature that she painted. WizKids Cleric, I believe, that she painted for her Asmar Sorcerer.
Yeah. That lasted all
2.5 hours.
rounds into the first battle. It was super awesome.
So Descent into Avernus starts off pretty difficult.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, well, now you know. I didn't know, and I am running the game.
How did you not know?
I mean, I knew it was too much.
He had
but I
like
also
72 hit points.
So okay,
64 hit points.
before we announce anything,
And there were
hang on. Before we say that,
many.
Spoiler alert, if you're playing Descent into Avernus, it's tough at the beginning. If you're playing in it, don't watch the next 5 minutes. But I knew, however, what I thought you guys were going to do was not get involved.
Well, I mean...
Because of your characters.
I wasn't planning on getting involved, but then there was this dwarf who is like... You shall not pass, basically.
Luke from the
and
DM Lair is playing a dwarven barbarian with an intelligence of 5.
And so he like runs downstairs and it's like, what the fuck, dude? What are you doing?
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
What are you doing? Like, next time I'm gonna hit him over the head. Like,
I think no matter what, all of you would have gotten involved.
It's fine.
In hindsight now.
Yeah.
Because I saw how you guys started playing your characters. Looking at your characters' races and classes and backgrounds the day of, I did not think it was going to be that bad because, for instance, Jake's character, I could totally see him just standing back beforehand, crossing his arms and just watching the action. But once the campaign started and I saw how he was playing his character, I didn't see it that way.
Okay, well, you should have adjusted at
Nate's
that point.
character was a rogue.
Nate's
so
character
I could have saw it with him
would
too.
have.
Yeah, I could have saw that
too. But like, fuck, man. It was just...
It's lovely. It's lovely.
It was rough.
It's not that bad.
He had, so this guy had like, what, 64 hit points?
No, it's like 58.
And
that's not what makes him tough, though.
But see, so
he gets 3
one.
attacks.
Yeah, and yes. And he has like 58 hit points.
Yes.
And then he has 8 friends.
7 by the book. I accidentally gave an extra.
Okay.
But that didn't make a difference.
Fuck. 8 friends, though, still.
Yeah.
And they all had more hit points.
They had 11 hit points.
Than 3 of us. And there were only 4 characters. Like.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Like.
It's true. You're okay. Keep going. I'm just posting
rough,
on Facebook.
Like, what were we gonna do? What the fuck were we gonna do?
Well, you could have let them buy. You could have bribed them, but once you found out the demands, that was kind of crazy.
It was 5,000 gold.
You
could have bribed him.
I read that excerpt of the book from him
after. You could have fucking bribed him. What do we look like?
I don't know. You could have figured it out.
Millionaire first level adventurers.
You could have figured something out. Nobody tried anything else. I mean, there were things I could have done better as well. I in hindsight, I'm kicking myself on some things. So I watched a live play today. I watched Adam Coble on the Dungeons and Dragons channel running it. And I am kicking myself because of how he handled it in a few different ways. And even afterwards, I was like, oh, I could have done certain things differently. So anyways, it was one of those things where I probably would have ran the encounter differently if I knew going into it how my players were going to play it. Roughly. Like if I had an idea for your characters. My idea was way off on how you guys were going to play it.
Oh.
I did not think the Dwarven Barbarian was going to be the ultra good protector of good people.
Well,
a spy that's a good person.
The ironic part of that is that up until that moment, he kept talking about how he didn't like to kill things. He didn't want to attack anything. He didn't want to, all of that stuff, right? But then, what does he do? Like, the second we get towards battle, he's like, I will defend your honor. And, charges. That's basically what happened.
Yeah.
It was kind of like...
It was glorious.
Literally, we're like, wait, hold on. I thought you didn't want to kill anything. I thought we weren't going to do that.
Right.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
It's but it was fine. It was fine. It was a fun game. But it was just like, what? Wait, hold on. And then you jinxed me when you were like, oh, okay, yeah, don't crit fail. And then what do? Crit fail on my death save.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine.
It was totally my fault.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah. It was my fault. So, anyways, this is our first episode. We're thinking about doing this weekly every Sunday. I know it's Monday right now. But we're thinking about doing this every Sunday. And so, because this is our first episode, we're going to call this Session 0. Introduction to awkwardly nerdy Paula, Power Gamer Paula, and Juce. So with our introduction, one of the things I wanted us to kind of cover is what have been our favorite RPGs in general. Like, what is your favorite system, or maybe your favorite session you ever played that you can think of?
My favorite session?
Yeah. Other than this last one that you died in. You got to pick a different one.
Okay. There were some good, I don't know about like a specific session, but there were some good sessions in the Tomb Annihilation game that we played.
That we played or that you're running?
No, that we played.
With Andre?
Yeah.
Okay. So from the DM Death Dork Vision channel on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There were
some good episodes in there that I had a lot of fun playing. I think it was like a good mix of people, because it was like there was a lot of humor in the game, but there were moments where things were a little bit more serious, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was a good like player mix for me.
Mm-hmm.
But it was interesting playing online because it's the first only campaign I've ever played online.
That's true.
So I've never played another game online before. So that was sort of interesting for me, which it took a second for me to get used to. In general, playing with a group, it takes me a second to get used to a new group.
Sometimes it does for me. I go into it nervous.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if I'm running it. If I'm a player, I'm not nervous. I wasn't nervous this last weekend, though.
Oh, okay.
But normally, going into it, I get like real anxious and sick to my stomach the day of.
Oh, really?
And I almost always don't want to run the very first session of a campaign.
Well, sometimes
I have to push through the first session every time.
Legitimately, the first session can be hard sometimes, right? Mm-hmm. Because you're like trying to figure out, You know, is everybody going to come together well? Is everybody going to get the information? Like, because usually, like, the first session, the second session, it's, like, just tons of information.
Sometimes. Not how I run.
And a lot of, like, storyline stuff.
Right.
And so you're trying to give them enough information so that their characters do what they need to do. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you, like, don't want to sit there and just read shit.
Yeah. I've actually started to do that more as I run games more.
Yeah, but you don't want to do it for like 20 minutes.
No, I will never do that. Yeah. I try to read no more than like 2 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like the other night, that intro to Descent into Avernus, that is probably a little bit more than I would normally want to read. Okay. But I thought it was a good amount. I mean, it gave you information about the city. It gave you kind of information, the tone. It set the tone. It kind of prepared you for what you were going to be doing. I thought it was a really well-written piece, but it was just a touch longer than I normally would have went with.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I've played in a lot of different games, obviously online, hundreds, multiple campaigns, and for me, it's really hard. So I feel like my favorite campaign I ever played in was easily Provokers. I mean, that was from the get-go. That started off as, it was supposed to be a one-shot, and we played, it started off in like a tavern, very stereotypical, quick adventure, and afterwards we were all like, that was amazing, and we decided we had to play again. And so Matt Click from A Fistful of Dice and one of the founders of Absolute Tabletop decided to continue it for us, and it went on for a while. It's still going on. It's in season 2 or 3 now, with Michael Lasham. I'm not in it anymore, but it's still really good. A lot of people still watch it. But that was my favorite campaign, that first season as Brasswick Feeblehammer, the life cleric of Ilmater. Individual sessions, it's really hard. I think there were some good ones back on SR2 Joker's channel when he ran. It was kind of like an episodic campaign where it was a series of one-shots, basically. But we were all Githyanki. And what would happen is if 3 people could make it tonight, he'd run it for 3 people. If 8 people could run from the one-shot group, he'd run it for them. And it was called From the Astral. It's no longer up on YouTube. He's taken all of his videos down since. But it was that was a lot of fun for individual games, for sure.
Why did he take his videos down?
I have no idea. I haven't talked to him in a long time. Just probably fell out of love with it, and I don't really know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I don't know if there was
Yeah, I don't know. No. But yeah, so those were some really fun games, and obviously I've played in a lot of other online games that are fun. Currently, my Wednesday night group, I get really excited after our Wednesday night games, which you can see on Twitch. Like the next day, I'm all like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe it! They're second level and they're fighting a lich." Like now, it's not a full blown lich; it's my own druid lich. But yeah, that's been fun. But kind of coming back now, running games and stuff. So when I go into a first campaign, I didn't know you didn't know this. I get really anxious and nervous to run that first night. In fact, I never, I'm super critical of myself. I never feel prepared. I scrap things last second because I'm like, no, that's crap. And then I redo stuff all the way up to the very last minute.
I think that you underestimate how critical everybody is of themselves in running games. I think,
I don't care how critical they are, though.
A lot. No, but I'm just saying, I feel like everybody is sort of, like, you don't want to screw it up, because, like, if you screw it up, like, you're the DM, like, you're in charge of the fucking story, like, you don't want to fuck it up for everybody, right? So,
but it's a give and take. If you have bad players, your game's going to be lame anyway.
That's true.
If you have 4 lame players, your game's going to be lame.
There's only so much you can do.
I feel like you need at least 2 decent players for a good campaign. Just 2. The other 2 or 3, they could be lame, but they'll play off of the other 2. Like 1 energetic player, 2 people who try, total at your table will bring out the best of a whole table, I think. And sometimes people just need to get used to it before they catch on to it. I think there's a lot of people who don't know how to play these games. They've been shown a way to do it where it's literally a board game, basically. They go through encounters as like just board games.
Yeah, I mean, I
You know?
think there are different. I mean, people get used to different, playing with different people. But I mean, for me, I'm not as nervous as a DM as I can be as a player when I first start. So
Really?
like we played that.
You're
first,
the opposite?
Yeah, we played that first session the other night, and I am very much like I'm naturally an introvert, like 100%. And so we're playing with people that I don't really know all that well.
Yeah.
And so it makes it even harder for me because I'm like, oh, I am
But you know Nate. We played with Nate for over a year before.
I haven't talked to him since then.
Right.
I haven't talked to the other guys.
Jake came over for board game night a couple months ago.
I know, but that's like one time. Do we need to go over the part where I'm an introvert?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm an introvert, but I'm a social introvert. I'm very hot or cold.
I don't talk very much. You guys all have like fancy channels and stuff.
Fancy channels.
Fancy channels.
No.
And I'm over here like, I do project management stuff at work.
We're all just people. We're all just just gamers like you. Heck,
I don't know.
You've probably been gaming longer than 2/3 of us.
I mean, maybe, but it's just like
you and I have been gaming almost the same amount of time. I think we've figured out.
So
actually, I think technically you've probably, before we gamed together, you gamed more than I did. But yeah. I had been gaming over a longer period of time, even though I hadn't done it as frequently and stuff.
Yeah. So I'm very much an introvert when I first, meet people. And so that makes it even harder to play a game together. So it takes me like the first session to sort of like warm up to other people, and I probably have to be put on the spot a couple times, or I really have to force it, and then I'll be fine. Okay. And then it will just like sort of happen, but it takes me a second. So whereas like if I was the DM for that game, it's like, I mean, I don't know, I probably would have just started making shit up at some point because I would have forgotten stuff. But then I just like make stuff up, and it's like, what are they gonna do about it? Like, now here's your problem. I don't care. I do that though. I love the idea of a pickup game is so much better to me as a DM than like planning out a whole campaign and stuff. Like, because there's low expectations, I feel, in a pickup game. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, let's sit down, throw some dice, have like an encounter. Yeah. Kind of like a one shot. I have no problem running one shots. In fact, like when I've done that in the past, I'm like, oh, what am I gonna do? I remember we were driving home from something, and I had a one-shot an hour later, and Taylor Swift's Blank Space came on. Do you remember that? And I was like, oh, I'm going to make that a puzzle. And somehow I incorporated that song into a puzzle in my game, and that was like really the only thing I had planned going into it. That was it. It was, boom, you guys travel, you have an encounter, you have another encounter, a puzzle, and then the boss fight. I mean, it started in a tavern. I mean, very cliche for D&D, but still, even for a one shot, that would like.
It was like a 3 or 4 hour session. Yeah. So
but you don't have anything else put together? I can't handle that. Like,
think about it.
I like to write out descriptions of like what is this gonna look like,
and you railroad it. Whereas I'm like, so what I do with the one shot is
I do not have to railroad it. We play in a game with other players who prefer to be railroaded. Like, you leave them open-ended, and they're like, I'm going to go ask the tavern person for information. And you're like, wait, what?
You're just going to say, do you have information?
Do you have any information about this? And you're like, no.
That's not how a conversation would go.
You gotta work on it a little bit, right? So some people you have to railroad.
Sure. But I do this. I'm like, okay, offhand, boom. Let's create a one shot real quick, right? You're in a tavern, right? And when you walk in, there is a shield hanging above the hearth, the fireplace, right? But every time somebody orders a round of drinks for someone, orc or half orc over there just bangs on the shield. Everyone rejoices in the tavern. It's a big celebration, and yeah, okay?
Great.
So what do you do as you walk into this tavern? You sit down and ask for a drink, right?
I mean,
waitress walks up
because it's like generic.
Sure. Now the players know who the other players are, and you individually introduce the characters and let them role play in there, right?
Right.
And then eventually, somehow, in the tavern, they get a hook. If they're not reaching or trying to find information or whatever, you can have them overhear something, or you can have something happen from outside. Someone comes in, whatever.
Yeah.
Now they got the hook, now they're off somewhere.
I know.
It's really that simple.
I know, but I just...
And then I like to do 3 encounters with one of them being a puzzle.
I just like to have things a little bit more mapped out. I need
Sure.
my roadmap.
That's true.
I need my process map.
You mean you need your tracks.
Yeah.
Railroad tracks.
It's not...
Yeah, whatever. So what would you say your play style is? Don't let my sayings influence this. What do you feel like your play style is?
Like, what are my choices?
I mean,
like-
well, how would you describe it? What is it you like? What is it that interests you about role-playing games, both as a player and DM?
That's a loaded question.
No, it's not. It's only loaded because I'm
So,
trying to get you to answer it your way.
As a DM, I usually want to screw my players up.
Oh, so you take
like-
pleasure in it too?
I do.
I didn't take pleasure in you
I
dying. I did take pleasure in hurting your characters, though.
I think it is fantastic when they're almost dead.
Yeah.
Like, I love that.
Right.
It is probably terrible. I like, as the DM, knowing all the secrets that they missed and that they didn't get.
See, I don't like
And
knowing.
then afterwards, I can be like, oh, you fucked that up. Like, you fucked it up big time.
But then you want to
and-
tell them, right?
You know,
Doesn't
but
it itch at you to like want to tell them they
yeah, but
missed something?
sometimes afterwards you can because they can't go back and get
Well,
it,
yeah.
or they don't have the opportunity or whatever, and you're
Or
like,
it's gone.
"Haha."
If they did
You
try
know?
that, I'd be like, okay, it's gone.
Oh no! If
That's
they
what I would
tried
do.
it, I'd put like some sort of crazy monster there.
Yeah.
Like,
I'd kibosh it.
you know, so I do take pleasure in causing my players pain.
Mhm. In my Wednesday game, one of my players, the fighter, had his foot cut off.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
I know you. Okay, so
I was so excited that he lived.
It's
at
like
least.
1:00 in the morning, and he like climbs in bed, and I was like, "Did you like your game?" And I'm like half asleep, and he's like, "Yeah, my player's foot got cut off." Like, you know, it's like, oh,
One of my players' character's foot. Yeah.
okay, that's cool.
Oh, it was
I'm
great.
gonna go back to sleep now. Like, he was so excited about it. He wanted
was
to tell me
great.
all about it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you actually texted me about it before that.
Probably because it happened at
Too.
like 10:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a half orc fighter, and he had already used his what is it? Their ability where they come back up when they drop to 0. So then he got hit, knocked to 0 by
it's
a
one
druid.
hit point.
Yeah, and so when we rolled on the lingering injuries table, we rolled a foot cut off. So I said, "Oh, okay. So as the druid is going down as well, because I think he got hit like right after that." I said he slit his Achilles and the foot came off, and it's like that tendon on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Everybody knows.
Oh, okay. No, not everybody.
Everybody.
Nah.
Okay. If you
I've
don't-
had to explain that to people before about a sports injury. So, anyways, I know, right?
Wow. Greek mythology, people.
Eh.
Get your shit together.
I don't know a lot of Greek mythology.
Get your shit
I took a
together.
class on it too. I used to love it too. Like I took a class I used to be really into. I forget stuff though if I don't use it.
I know, but
Um,
still, like, it's like, it's
Yeah.
so important.
Well, the best part is, so then a character healed him. I forgot I had a trigger for the room where a bunch of like swarms of locusts were gonna come and bite whoever was in the way, kind of thing. So he popped up. I was like, oh shit! A swarm of locusts come through. You're at 2 hit points. Let's see what I roll. And he ended up dropping to 0 again. And so then he had to roll again, which this time it was just like a major scar. Well, he said his character already had a scar, so we just made the scar worse.
Oh, okay.
But it made his charisma drop or something.
Oh, gosh, you're brutal.
It's the lingering injuries from the DMG.
I know.
Page 272, if you're
Those
wondering.
are brutal.
No, they were great. That one's really minor. Both of them can be fixed with a spell. It's like a 7th level spell.
Yeah, it's only like a 7th level spell.
Yeah,
like,
but you can pay. Like you
it's
can
not
find
a
somebody
big deal.
in the world who can do it for a price or for a quest.
For 5,000 gold pieces.
No, I mean a quest could be a quest. Could be a big quest.
Yeah. In the meantime.
Hey, go kill this Hydra.
Please allow me. Can you build me a peg leg so that
No,
I can launch?
Well, yeah, they're gonna go back. And they're one of their characters' parents is a blacksmith, so they're gonna have a foot.
A metal shoe.
Well, he's got boots on.
Make him a metal.
He's gonna fill the bottom with an iron foot,
Oh,
probably.
it's like 20 pound.
No, it doesn't have to
boot
be 20 pounds.
That he has to somehow strap and affix to his cut off foot. Is he like not bleeding to death or anything?
No, he was
like,
healed. This is
did
D&D.
they-
This is D&D. This is not. Hey, let's play
Did
Life,
they, like,
the RPG.
Cauterize the wound or like
Yeah.
what?
No,
Oh man, that just sounds.
he's healed.
That's awful.
He was stabilized, which is the trick right there. It was magical stabilization, and then healed,
So it was magically cauterized.
basically. It just, as Lily would say. Lily, our daughter, who's 8, talks in sound effects sometimes. She'll be like,
I have
she'll
no
be like,
idea
and
where
then
she
they
got that from.
probably me. So, what?
I was kidding.
Do I do that a lot too?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know I did that a lot. So she'll be like, yeah, my friend was just like, do, 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 do. And then, and we're like, what's that mean? She'll be like, oh, they ran across and then they were throwing rocks or something. Like that would be the description.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like do, 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 do,
You know,
or is
I
running.
tell people at work stories about her, and they're like, she is so your child.
Oh, but somehow she gets these things from me.
Oh, gosh.
But yeah, so I get real anxious though about campaigns and stuff. And so that's why I was so surprised Saturday when I was not nervous. I was just like, oh, because I had never played a game with Jake ever, and I've known Jake for 4 years. We went and saw Acquisitions Inc. When they were doing the Storm King's Thunder game in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
He gave me miniatures then. I've hung out with him at Grand Con a couple times. You know, and I've just generally talked to him for 5 years on and off. Maybe twice a year. I mean, not anything too profound, but I consider him a friend.
Yeah, he's good people.
Yeah, oh, he's awesome. And then Nate's, kind of the same thing. We played together. We used to talk in the Provokers chat, but outside of that, we didn't really chat too much. And once I was out of that, we didn't talk much. But we moved back over to this side of the state and started talking again. And then Luke is a hard guy to get a hold of. When he was starting his channel, I tried to reach out to him because I was like, this guy's awesome, and couldn't get a hold of him. Like I couldn't figure out how, because he's just so busy and kind of keeps himself behind his barrier. But we met at Grand Con this year and worked out possibly doing a charity game next year. That was kind of where things stood. And then I was trying to find people to play games with on Saturdays, and couldn't get a firm answer from anybody. It took probably a month. Yeah. It was basically like 2-3 weeks ago I finally got an answer that, yeah, we'll play. And it was like, boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. So it was kind of nice that worked out. But yeah, and so, in like you say, they're fancy YouTubers. I mean, they're all bigger than me channel-wise. I've been doing it the longest, but they've surpassed me in skill and stuff. They're just really cool, I think. And
You
really
did take
good.
a lot of breaks, though.
What do you mean?
You took a lot of breaks.
On Saturday?
No, on YouTube.
Yeah, I moved 8 times in 9 years, and that's kind of disrupted things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Every time we move, you got to figure out how you're going to do it again.
What would you say is your, play style? DM's perspective?
Yeah. As a DM, I like to be hands-off. I like to go with whatever my players do typically.
Oh, okay.
Now, Saturday, I'm running a module. I'm not someone who likes running modules typically.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's harder for me because I think it's that confidence. I struggle running anything that is any intellectual property. I like to run homebrew. and because I can just freestyle and I don't have that concern that, oh, I'm ruining the lore that one of these players might understand.
Right.
Or I'm ruining something that might affect the module
or they
5
just
levels from now.
killed the guy that they were.
Yeah, you know, so I struggle with that. And because I also, you know, I struggle learning from reading. I like to practice. Like, I'm more of a hands-on learner. And so just sitting there and reading a book, I don't always pick up on things. I miss things or I forget things, especially if in the book it's not repetitive. So that's tough for me. Yeah, it's modules are great. I love mining them for ideas. But again, it's that whole idea of, okay, I'm going to run this by the book and here we go. And I know you're like, well, just take liberties. And it's like,
yeah,
I know,
that's what, okay.
but it's hard for me to do that. I struggle with it. I don't like running games Forgotten Realms usually, just for the same reason.
Yeah, but still, I mean, like, so I've never ran a module for D&D though.
But it fits your DMing style.
And so I'm running Tomb of Annihilation for a different group. And it's just kind of like, oh, hey, you know, this seems like a good idea. Like, let's just go with it. And
yeah, there's a lot of random encounters in that, though, so far.
It doesn't, well, yeah, because you
And I
guys
like
just
that.
keep fucking walking, like, places.
What are we going to do?
You know, like,
Here,
I
let
don't
me
know.
ask you, what should we do? What could we do?
Well, how about you stick with your guide so that you walk at least in the right
You gave us a
direction?
portal to jump through, so we jumped. And I was the last one. I was like,
See?
why are we jumping through a
Exactly.
portal?
Everybody does not have a portal in their Tomb of Annihilation game.
Right. So they
The
all
point
jumped.
Is that
I
am
chose
from-
not to, but then everyone else was like, well, what the hell? And then she's like, that was stupid. You should have went. And so then she's like, here's the portal. It reopened again. So I was like, well, I guess I'm jumping because I was told it was stupid that I didn't.
No.
So I bailed on our guide.
I did not say it was stupid.
You totally did.
I did not
You implied
say
it.
it was stupid.
She implied it.
He was like all the way on one far section, and they like took a portal to like the other side of
To
the
Firefinger.
map. Yeah.
From one place all the way to Firefinger. From Nani Poo Poo's hut
To
to Firefinger, basically.
Yeah, and so it's like, oh, fuck. All I could think to myself was like, what am I gonna do if he doesn't go with them? So then I just,
Well, clearly I was the one in the right, so you should have ran the adventure for me.
I allowed the portal to reopen when he touched one of like the objects in the room or whatever.
Yeah.
So I allowed it to reopen. It was still your choice to jump through. You didn't
Yeah.
have to jump through.
Yeah, I don't know. It was what it was. But
as a player,
mhm.
I don't know, like, that I have a really strong style, like,
You're a power gamer.
one way
in my
or the
opinion.
other. But
This is the
so
only
many
time you've
people-
ever chose one not to put your strongest stat as your primary, which is fine.
No, it's the
That-
second time ever.
Oh, sorry. You're right. Because we were told by that DM, Andre, in Tomb of Annihilation, that he ran more RP heavy and rather than difficult game.
Yeah.
And that turned out not to be true.
That character also died
That was bad.
second session.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. No, you last longer than that. That
No,
character.
second session. Because we were.
Oh crap, we were in the city for like 2 sessions. 3 sessions, because I missed one of those sessions. And then we died. It was like our second jungle session.
Fine.
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Fine.
But so that's not what makes you a power gamer though. It's not even that. It's when you're rolling stats and when you have one stat under a 13
Stop
and
it.
you say
I am not that bad.
you've totally done
I
it.
am
She's
not
totally
that
done
bad.
this.
I am
She's
not
like,
that bad.
so
He is so
I don't
lying.
have any stat above a 15. Can I re-roll?
He's lying. He made stuff up. The only time I really complained was that time that I rolled like 4 stats that were below, like they were like 8 and below, and I was like,
I've never seen a character sheet that you've
I
done where
was
that was the
like,
case.
Yeah, I had
No.
2 8s, a 7,
You
a
were mad.
9 and like an 11 and a 10, and you were like, just make your best stat the 11.
So
And
when
I
we
was
roll
like,
stats,
fuck
if she
my
does
life.
not get a 17 at least in one,
That's not true.
she.
That's not
Come on,
true.
come on, come on.
That is not true.
Come on.
He's such a liar.
No, I'm not.
He's such a liar.
I think this is what Nate confirmed. Because I think he was there when we rolled stats. And I think one of the times you were like, none of my stats are above this number. Can I please re-roll? I swear I think you said that.
No.
Yes.
No,
It
he's
totally
such a
happened.
liar. Such a liar. Nate and I have never made characters together.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I thought we did in that.
No.
Because we had to convert them over from Pathfinder
Nope, we
to
made
D&D.
new characters.
No, we converted.
Nope.
Did
I
we
don't
make
think
now?
So. Yeah, because remember.
No, because it was the same
I
sorcerer.
had a gnome sorcerer and
Oh, yeah,
I
they became
switched
NPCs,
to
we
an
said.
assassin.
We put the option out there, yep.
Yeah.
So then you did make that second character together.
No, we didn't. That was separate. We did it separate.
Whatever. we could do this
Nate
all
and
night.
I have not made characters together
All right.
before.
Well, that's not true.
Because-
He made a character with you just Saturday.
I know, because he was like, hey, did you roll your stats already? And I was like, yeah, dude, I made the whole character. And he was like, oh shit, I better roll my stats real quick.
It wasn't a big deal.
Well, you said session 0, character creation. And he
I
even
know.
walked in and he was like, well, I thought we were going to create characters. And it's like,
But like a week ago
well,
through
I did
email, everyone was
too,
like,
but then-
I'm making my character. So
yeah.
everyone made it ahead of time.
Well, no, I think it was actually like Luke started it where he was like, oh yeah, my character, or no, it was because you told me. You said, because Luke was talking about his character, and then you said, yeah, Luke's already started his character and beyond.
Right.
He already got
So
it
did Jake,
started. Like,
And so did Nate. Nate logged in too.
And
All of them
then
logged
I
in and
was
locked
like-
in like their class.
so I was like,
race.
shit, I better do this. And then you...
I told you not to worry about
Remember, because you had nicknamed Luke's character Squishy.
it. I didn't nickname him. Luke put it in as
Oh,
Squishy.
he put
It's
it
still in
as
D&D
Squishy.
Beyond as Squishy. It's still in there. He's got 2 characters in there. One is Squishy, and that is the Warlock. And now he's got
Okay.
Bluto or whatever. Bruto. Bruto?
It's not Bluto.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Bluto's the dude from Popeye the Sailor Man, I think. The big bad guy. You know what Popeye is?
Yeah.
Not the chicken place. The sailor.
I've never been to
That
the
eats
chicken
spinach.
place. I'm a vegetarian.
You have not been a vegetarian your whole life. But your parents don't eat out. Okay. I don't know if I have
I
actually.
didn't have McDonald's
I don't-
until I was like 19.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you there.
18.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
And actually, all I've ever had there is really like French fries.
Yeah. Anyways,
So.
so yeah, Luke has 2 characters locked up.
Okay, gotcha. So I thought you made up the name Squishy.
No, I told you he put it in as Squishy. And I said you guys were Squishy
Anyway.
because of that. Well, not because of that, because I saw Jake's character.
Yeah, because he's like, I've never seen an AC that low. And
With a
like,
shield.
I'm
13.
like-
Well, for a cleric. Because when we
oh,
saw that he was a
crap.
cleric, all of us were like, oh, okay, so he's going to be a good, like, good
fighter.
AC, you know,
Yeah.
tough to hit. And then, you know.
No problem.
But he actually did fairly well. But that's also because he stayed 20 feet away.
Yeah, he only had one guy on him.
Hey, wait. You ran in between like 5 guys.
Okay, so
And I did not take an attack of
thought-
opportunity on you. I realized that after you had already started hitting him, I was like, oh, I forgot to do the attack of opportunity.
I thought that they were gonna be easy. I didn't realize they had 64 goddamn hit points.
Even if, well, only one did.
Like,
And it
I
was 50
thought
something.
they were gonna be like, just like, what? You're gonna give us 9 things to kill at first level. They're gonna have like
Yeah.
10 hit points or less. Like, this is fine. That's what I get for
I mean, that's-
metagaming.
I probably would not have done. Yeah, that is what you get for metagaming. I probably would not have done an encounter like that.
I mean, I also thought, okay, initially I was like, I should just like cast Blade Ward, right?
Mhm.
Instead. And then I was like, fuck it!
Right, that was your mistake.
It's gonna be fine. And then, once
Yeah.
I was in there, it was like...
So for my play style, I think I am a bit of an optimizer, which is different than a power gamer. A power gamer is someone who optimizes and then I'm a rules lawyer too.
You are a rules lawyer.
Yes, but I've gotten way better.
Only because I've yelled at you so
No,
much
you have not
in the
yelled at
games
me.
that I run.
No, just the one game after
No.
I was like, I did that a bunch, didn't I? And you're like, yep. And I said, all right, I got to reel that in. But even as a DM, like it's funny because as a DM though, I even throw it out there. I'm like, well, what do you think, guys? How would you rule
I know,
this?
I noticed that, but if he's a player, he'll like interrupt
But I
and
don't
he'll be like, actually, you need to take that away from our players.
No,
this is not...
I do not say that. I
He
say
will
the rule is this.
absolutely.
I don't give a shit how you rule it. I just tell you what it is because I know sometimes when you look at me with a blank stare looking for an answer, which you do a lot.
Do not.
You do a lot. When someone's asking a question, you'll look at me and you'll think about it,
No.
and then you'll say it if I don't say anything. But you totally looked at me.
Because I get so used to you interrupting me.
So anyways, I'm a bit of a rules lawyer, I would say, but I'm also a little bit of an optimizer. However...
So what's the difference between an optimizer and a power gamer?
So an optimizer... a power gamer
Right.
does... Okay, so an optimizer does things to make a strong character, right?
Okay.
They want to be like the best at something.
Okay.
A power gamer is somebody who takes it beyond just the build sometimes. Like, oh, I don't know, changing the rules of an assassin mid-game and trying to sell me on that's how it works. We then pull it up afterwards and we're like, that shit is not how that worked. I told you it was wrong.
We got so confused. We were all confused, okay?
It was the assassinate ability.
We
were confused until Nate
confused.
and I read it and we're like, that's not that confusing.
We were all confused.
But you've done that on other things too. But either way, it doesn't matter. That's just the best. That was just the best example of what I can think of.
I have not.
But like, so then there's like a min-maxer, right? Who will make themselves weak at other stuff to make other things more powerful.
Yeah.
So there's different
that
things.
Would be so.
But I'm not like that. I don't like to be super weak on it and stuff. I'm more, I'm more well-rounded, I guess, with one stat high kind of thing usually.
Oh, okay.
So here's an example. A barbarian is supposed to be strong. My favorite character I've made, probably for 5th edition, from the power gaming standpoint, is a halfling barbarian whose strength was like a 13. And I gave him Dex and Con because that's what his armor class is about. So I made his armor class really good. But when he was raging, he was using Dex-based weapons. He wasn't getting a +2 to damage. So I wasn't power gaming, but I did optimize it for a focus.
So I would argue that some of my characters are actually very well-rounded.
They might be.
Even...
That's why you're not a min-maxer. A min-maxer would say, okay, I'm going to do point buy. I'm going to do 3 8s, 3 16s.
Fuck your point buy bullshit. That's just total
But you don't like, why do you not like
bullshit.
that? Why do you not like that?
I don't like it because it just feels like, oh, you're locked into some stats being shitty, so other stats can be great. And it's just like, it's so much about everybody has to be even.
You're not even, though.
Everything should be even. You get the same amount of, like...
There's actually more strategy in building your character that way.
So it's I just like the randomness. It's just like hit points.
She likes the randomness when the numbers are good enough.
I want to take the average. Like, just, motherfucker, just roll. Like,
roll for hit
just
points.
Roll. Like, live on the wild side.
That's not working well for me in Tomb of Annihilation. I'm just saying.
Live on the wild side.
I am like 10 lower than the next person in hit points.
Yeah, but you guys have like a beefy monk, this like super beefy cleric.
We have a beefy monk because he messes up his mechanics. He was doing like flurry of blows every round and was like, how are you doing this? You don't have that many key points. He had like 3 key points. And he was doing flurry of blows like every single time.
I should just keep track of for him.
No, you have enough to keep track of. We just need to make sure everyone knows their stuff. That's all. Which we can't ever get our spell stuff correct either. The DCs, because it's on that third page rather than the front page.
Yeah.
And so everyone's like, well, what do I look at? My proficiency in this? And it's like, well, you're a spellcaster. You know, you're a different type of spellcaster than I am, so I can't tell you.
Do I add this to this to this? Mm-hmm. And it's like, just please flip the page over.
Right. But, you know, hey, it is what it is. You know, and I mess up stuff too. Like my spell DC I was saying it was lower than it was. And I realized I was off by a number.
Yeah, but at least you weren't like, hey, it's 19.
Well, no, nobody said it was 19. No, I think the thing that was killing us was the monk doing his stuff within a bonus action constantly and doing like crazy damage.
Yeah,
and we were like, what? How is he doing that every single time?
So
he's doing like 20-some points of damage every round, and it's like nonstop.
Just before we play next time, I just need to reread
The monk?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Maybe I should make everybody...
That's why D&D Beyond is nice too.
I should make everybody create their characters in D&D Beyond.
I'd have to enable... I can only enable for 3 campaigns. I'll look. I think I have it enabled for them. I'll double check D&D Beyond. You can only enable content sharing for 3 groups.
Okay.
So, and I have 3 groups already using it. Because we're using it for our Descent game, I'm using it for my Wednesday game, and I'm using it for my Friday game.
Okay, gotcha.
So I might not be able to.
Okay, TBD.
Yep. Unless I make people's characters and then look at it, but that's kind of silly. So, no, anyways. And I originally had set them up that way, but nobody used it. So I think I ended up getting rid of it.
Gotcha.
That was the one I deactivated for Descent into Avernus.
Yeah, so we need to figure out I think it's Avernus.
Oh, the names?
That's what they say.
That's hell. That's the first level of hell.
Yeah, I know, but that's what...
That's what? What?
That's how they say it in the official D&D videos.
Oh, okay.
Because some people...
You don't like how I'm saying it?
Avernus?
Oh, it's whatever. People pronounce
Avernus.
monsters different. Like, if you go through D&D Beyond, there's a pronunciation of, like, monsters.
Right, well,
and people say things different.
There's a right way, and then there's a wrong way.
Yeah, but who decides the right way and who decides the wrong way?
Fucking the people who wrote the shit.
Okay, well, some of those people aren't even around anymore, because that was 1970 whatever, 1980 something.
Yeah, so
like we were talking the other night.
D&D gets to
gibbering
decide.
mouther or gibbering mouther?
Well, that depends on how it's spelled.
Aarakocra or Aarakocra? Gith Yankee, Gith Yankee.
So I think it's Githyanki. I think it's Aarakocra.
See what I mean? It's all over the place, though. They're all difficult. You gotta, like, language of origin, please. Like, what are the other questions they ask in spelling bee? I can't even remember anymore. I used to watch those, too.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah, on ESPN, too. Oh, it was great. I used to love them. Like, oh, it was...
You tell me I'm like...
You don't think it's hilarious watching people spell? And then, like, because the funny thing, I used to be really good at spelling. I think I still am all right. But, like, I remember I missed the day of school they were doing the spelling bee. And I was, like, 4th or 5th grade. No, 6th. No, I missed it 6th grade. I missed round 1, so I couldn't get in it. I had to watch kids do round 2, and it was the easiest damn words ever. And I was so pissed that I couldn't do like our home, because you did your classroom, then you did like your block of rooms, and then you did grade, and then you could go on to like district and whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we were able to watch classroom and then whatever if we were out or whatever. And I remember being so mad that people couldn't spell simple things. So that year when I found out it was on ESPN2, I remember watching it. I was like, oh, I can spell these words. And then they're doing this stuff and they're like, language of origin. I'm like, what? Why? Huh? And then they're like saying the words. I'm like, oh, shit, I can't spell for squat. Because they're actually like really smart at that level.
Well, yeah, because the language of origin a lot of times tells you the order in which the letters are going to.
Yeah, but I wasn't thinking of some of these crazy words that I had never heard in my life.
You were just like, giraffe.
Shut up. Hey, for the record, there was probably somebody in round 2 who couldn't spell giraffe. And it probably pissed me off.
I don't know. I feel like
Jerk.
I
Jerk.
mean, I did the spelling bee and was like, I don't know, like 10th or something like that.
Yeah, and you didn't go to districts. Because you couldn't spell giraffe. Or paper mache. Or machete.
You know, okay.
Can you spell machete?
I had to
Spell it.
I had to introduce a new like SOP for a couple departments today at work. And so I was like explaining the SOP and like going through it and everything like that. And somebody afterwards came up to me and they were like, just so you know, you spelled implement wrong. And so I was like, huh. So I go back through and they're like, here's how you spell it. And then they just walked away. Like, they didn't sit there and wait to, like, show me or anything. They were just like, you spelled implement wrong. This is how you spell it. And so I go and I look and I was like, no, I don't think so.
Did you double check it in Google?
And so I double checked it, like, in an email. No, they were wrong. I was like, you came up to me.
So did you send the email to them and say, hey, just so you know, this is how you spell implement?
No. But
You do passive aggressive. That was today?
Yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow. Be like, hey, you know, that I was thinking about that last night. I was like, am I really that stupid? Like, say that verbatim. And then be like, so I looked it up. I spelled it correctly.
But I was just like, motherfucker, you had me all like, I don't know.
I get it, because I have pet peeves when it comes to spelling or word usage. But I have to remember, too, autocorrect screws stuff up for people, because it does it for me all the time.
True story, it does.
Changing the word lose to loose,
and in this
I
case,
can't stand seeing that.
And in this case,
I see it all the time.
I was doing an SOP. It was in Excel. So it wasn't like, you know, oh, I put this SOP together, and
Sure.
like, obviously it was underlined in red multiple times or something like that.
Right. So...
Yeah.
Back on gaming. Who
Yep,
cares about
sorry.
SOPs?
Sorry.
Nobody wants that work
Nobody
shit.
wants to know about my bullshit.
Yeah, nobody wants to know about that.
It's fine.
So obviously you're running Tomb of Annihilation. I'm running 3 different campaigns. What is it that you would like to either run or play in next? I mean, for me, I'm probably not going to run or play much for a couple months. This is kind of what I'm locked in for a minute.
I mean, so
Other than one-shots
you're
and
thinking
stuff.
like after Tomb of Annihilation, what would I want to
Run possibly. Or after Descent into Avernus, what would you want to play?
Well, I mean, so I have not played the majority of. I haven't played like any 5th edition modules, so I mean, it's pretty open.
Does it have to be a module? I mean, what if we're talking new systems?
No.
What if we're talking about like Dragon Age system or Fantasy Age?
So I would like to. I think I'm decently open to systems. I mean, typically.
But there's nothing you're like, oh, that might be pretty cool.
No, but I would really like to play in some sort of maybe like a either a pirate campaign.
Oh, like Ghosts of Saltmarsh or something?
Yeah, well, you know, it doesn't have to be a module, like,
Right.
but
seafaring.
yeah, so some sort of, pirate campaign. I haven't done that.
Maybe somebody will run it for you.
I would also like to play something that was super high magic.
Wait,
Like,
D&D's not high
really,
magic for you?
Really, like...
What's higher than D&D? I mean, Pathfinder was, but that's like ridiculous numbers and just math finder.
Yeah.
But I actually thought Pathfinder was kind of cool.
I think something that is super, super high magic would just be fun. Or like if it was maybe just a group of magic users.
So what is high magic to you? What do you envision with this? Because I can't envision much beyond D&D with that.
I think more... I don't feel like a lot of times it's like overtly in your face. in D&D. Like,
Really?
maybe.
Really?
I mean, like, you're not...
We had a ghost singing in a tavern.
Yeah, I mean, like, you did a good job with that.
You had, like, blades flinging around you.
Yeah, but that was something that I created because of my character. So I just think, I don't know.
At first level, everyone can heal themselves, kind of.
Yeah,
Interesting.
except for when I'm dead.
She's not bitter.
No, so I think there's a lot of flavor that comes with magic, and
Sure.
there are a lot of really cool magic items that are out there
Mm-hmm.
that I've never got to use. Like some of the
magic
stuff,
items.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of the stuff that's a little bit more random.
Right.
Like, I do not want...
You get shafted by me being DM, though, sometimes.
I do
I'm
not
stingy.
want a +5 longsword. I don't want a +1 longsword. I don't want a...
Right,
like,
you want something cool.
I don't want a longsword with fire on it. Like, I want, like, some sort of, like...
Deck of many
know.
things.
Yeah, some sort of weird fucking random...
Game-breaking shit, because, power
bullshit.
game.
Like, but even if it was like a deck of illusions or like, I don't know, just random magic stuff. Like,
the robe of like wizard's patches or whatever the hell that thing is.
Yeah, I like puzzles and I like
See
to
that type of stuff?
strategy my way out of things. And so sometimes you just have a couple of those things that give you some sort of weird object or some sort of weird ability. And I mean, sometimes those are the coolest things that you can use in a game. And it's like, so that's what I mean when I say, like, I want really high magic.
You want, like, crazier magic.
Yes, I want wild magic.
So you want 5th edition, but you want, like, to throw in, like, you want a Monty Hall campaign. You want lots of treasure. So, like, the spells and everything are fine the way they are. And the abilities and classes and everything are all fine. You want high magic items.
Yes.
So that you have to make decisions. Hey, am I going to attune to this or that based on what I think is
But
coming?
I want them to be like wild magic items. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, like you would rather have and it would depend on the class you play. Obviously, you don't play martial characters. Of course, you don't want a flaming sword or a vorpal sword. Or something like that.
Well, I mean, I don't play a martial character right now.
But we've talked about this. You most of the time don't and have very little interest besides paladins. Like, it's very low on your radar.
I mean, no, I liked playing a cleric.
Yeah.
I did, like, the storm cleric. That was cool.
Yeah. But you still wouldn't want that crazy weapon. You still probably would not want a vorpal sword. You would want the crazy...
I played thieves.
Right, I know.
And bards.
That's like always.
Bards.
You were pigeonholed into rogue, almost like not even pigeonholed. You pigeonholed yourself into rogue for years until I got you to play a sorcerer.
I played a lot of bards though. I also played a lot of rangers too, and so I mean,
some people really like rangers in 5e. It's very polarizing in 5e.
Yeah, I haven't checked it out because it gets such a bad rap. Like,
I think
talk about how terrible it is, and so it's like I don't know if I want to do it.
The way it is in the book is, I actually think they're fine. They're good at area of effect. They're not strong on a single target, it seems. And then the Beastmaster is what people complain about the most. So you can either act or your animal can act. You can't both act on a turn. So it's like it's doing your turn for you. It can help, I think, and you can attack. So then you get advantage. But that's already like a barbarian has that ability. A rogue gets that ability if someone's within 5 feet. Like, so it's a lot of people think it's just underpowered, underwhelming. I don't know. There's some things about it though that people rave about. There's some combos and stuff. So for me, the games that I would want to play, I would like to play Fantasy Age and Dragon Age. That's what I would like to do. As a player, more so than a GM. So that would be mine. But yeah, so I know what time it is. Okay. So, I think in the future, what I will do is I will probably see about getting people to run games for us too. That maybe we can stream or whatever, like online. Obviously, I have enough friends in the community who run games, and so if they were interested and maybe they don't have a Twitch channel, we stream it on my Twitch and they upload it to their YouTube or something. That might be a good little way to do it. And then maybe we can do something high magic, or maybe we can try new systems. So,
That'd be cool.
I've got one more game that I will possibly be adding to our mix of games to run. I'm hoping to have a group by December. I talked to a guy last night who's fairly local. He's on the other side of the state. He reached out about some things, and so we'll see if that materializes into something. But he would be possibly playing, and then Brian from the owner of GrandCon, would probably be playing. I'm thinking right now it would be like every fourth Saturday, but not the week before or after the Descent game. So it would be for us every 2 weeks, because you said you could probably handle that a while back. So would think about doing something like that, and then bringing in some people to play in that game.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that would be D&D.
That'd be cool.
5th edition. We'd stream it, and I've got the equipment, got the cameras, and hopefully by then we'll sort out all the kinks that we had this last time. Audio was the thing we heard most about. But that was because of obstructions, I think.
Yeah. You have some stuff in the way. We can fix that.
Yeah.
And then I think, we talked about, like, Jake and I switching spots, which would probably help, too. Because I can be quieter.
We didn't tell Jake yet.
Well, we had said at the beginning of the game he likes to sit on the end, so that's fine. Yeah. So we would just do that next time, which, I don't think he has an issue being louder or anything like that. But I can tend to be quiet, and so I think that made it even worse that I'm an introvert and then I was really quiet and
bite your tongue.
Yeah, I just need to
speak up.
It's hard. Sometimes you're like, oh, am I quiet or am I being too aggressive? Because I tend to be very polar on those, so I just kind of have to figure.
You're talking, you can see that you're not even hitting the yellow, and you're closer to the mic.
What's the yellow?
That's like your sweet spot. So you're quiet. You're just a quiet talker. Whereas I talk, and look, I'm hitting yellow easy.
Okay, but I'm not trying to scream at it. No. Do I need to use my outdoor voice?
No, it's just for example, between us.
I'm not in presentation mode.
There's a huge difference. I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's just our volumes are different. So even in the past, when people have watched our videos, they're like, "Wow, you talk really loud," but that's only when you're in the video. Or they'd be like, "She talks really quiet," or we've gotten both sides of it, and it's not anything. I don't think there's a lot we could do other than wearing our own mic packs and then turning your volume up higher.
Maybe you just need to shut up.
Let's see how well this goes. Okay, go ahead. So, anyways, so we're thinking about doing this, like I said, weekly. But one of the things we were thinking about trying to do with this as well is painting miniatures at the same time, occasionally.
Yeah.
So we were going to do it, but then because everything's still kind of set up from the game the other night and trying to figure out logistics of where we're going to put cameras and stuff like that, we didn't do it this time. But if that's something you would like to see, let us know. We'd also like to do some more in the future. The format will be kind of like a quick little discussion about what's going on in our games, and then we'll get into the topic, and then we'll answer questions throughout or comments, and then at the end we'll read comments and questions as it goes on, if people are participating. So if that sounds like something you want to see as well, let us know. And yeah, anything else you can think of? She's talked about doing her own channel. I don't know if that's going to happen or not.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
If you're curious, she had one that I was managing for her a few years back because she wanted one, but she didn't want to do anything with it.
So I have 2 videos.
Is it only 2?
Yeah.
I went and found it the other
3
day.
videos. I have 60 subscribers though, so
Yep.
like that's cool.
You might get more now because I actually linked to it in our game that went up today.
Did you really?
Which has over 200 views already.
Oh.
But it's Awkwardly Nerdy on YouTube. It's one of the first things that comes up. If you want to find her on Twitter, it's Awkwardly Nerdy 1 on Twitter that she probably doesn't even know about, but now she knows.
Also don't know about that.
Even though I emailed all this to her email for Awkwardly Nerdy that I had created for her, and she used to set up her Twitch. So she should have all this information.
No, I just used the name to set up my Twitch, not the email.
I thought you used the email I set up for you.
False.
I wonder what happened with that.
I don't know. Good question. I don't know what the name is for that, so.
Probably Awkwardly Nerdy at Gmail. We'll have to figure out what the password was. I mean, we're talking 2014 here.
I know.
Like 5 years ago.
TBD.
So anyways, we'll figure it out. If not, we'll just redo all that. But yeah, so anyways, if you want to see more of that, let us know and we will do it. Hopefully this does well because I enjoy doing these. And if nobody watches, then I don't want to do them. But I like doing them.
All right.
So anyways, that's it, guys. Master the game, Juce. Awkwardly Nerdy, Power Gamer, Paula, who's not a Power Gamer anymore. She's reformed. Yeah. Game on.
You're such a dork.
I am not a dork.